Welcome back to another episode of Mostly Michigan Beer Reviews. I'm your host, James. Today we're going to be reviewing Bourbon Barrel-Aged Huma Loopalicious. Huma Loopalicious aged in bourbon barrels by Shorts Brewing Company. And as always, let's go see where Shorts Brewing Company is located. That's where Shorts Brewing Company is located. So let's take a quick look at the label art and we'll talk a little bit more about the beer. Shorts Brew. This is the label. We have two barrels squishing a big juicy hop. Very cool, very cool. These are the little binds. They're called binds, not vines. Bourbon Barrel-Aged Huma Loopalicious, a India Pale Ale aged in bourbon barrels. And this says down here, a complex bourbon and hop theme park in your mouth. What else do we have here? 22 fluid ounces. There's a story here, which I'll read for you in a minute. Our Shorts cap. This one's kind of dented in. That's really interesting. It must be the type of bottle they used here. This bomber top. And I will check for a date here in a minute. So that's the label art. So again, that was the label art, and I do not see any printed date on here, not yet. I've searched high and low. Usually Shorts is good for that, but today there's nothing on there. So I'm going to read about it, and then we will crack it open. Bourbon Huma is our best-selling American India Pale Ale aged in bourbon barrels for up to 9 months. An initial malt sweetness is replaced with flavors of charred oak and sweet vanilla, followed by the standard Huma hop punch to the palate. This new combination creates the sensation of sipping on a sweet bourbon that finishes like a bitter hop theme park in your mouth. Well, that sounds interesting. The ABV is 11.8, a whopping almost 12% ABV. The IBU is 66, so quite bitter and really high in alcohol content. So let's crack it open and pour it and see what we got here. Switcheroo. That was the pour. We had a one-finger head, white foam. It's dissipated really quickly. What's that color? What's the color of Hop Slam? No, it's not Hop Slam, obviously. That is a dark, hazy, like burnt caramel color. A little bit of orange in there. I'd say orangish caramel color. What's it smell like? Whew. Smells like super sweet bourbon, but it's like a hoppy bourbon. I'm actually getting that citrus and bourbon scent mingling together. A little bit of vanilla and citrus combined. Totally different than the last barrel-aged beers that I've reviewed by Rochester Mills. That's intoxicating. All right, 11.8%. I'm going to get puffed up. So the first thing that comes to my mind here is, excuse me, this is a very smooth IPA. It's smooth. For being 11.8%, I figured it would be super boozy. And it's not. It's very clean. It's very crisp and smooth. It's got a nice silky like mouthfeel. So yeah, up front, definitely getting that bourbon character, kind of like a Canadian whiskey. There's a little like weird bite there compared to American whiskey. It's hard to explain. It kind of has like a rubber taste. I know that sounds not satisfying and grotesque in a way, but I get that. I guess it's charred oak. That's got to be the flavor, charred oak. This is good, actually. Yep. Charred oak up front. Little hint of vanilla. I mean, I know it says that on the label and the description, but it's accurate. But it does finish with a nice India Pale Ale flavor. A little bit bitter, mixed with a lot of citrus hop flavors. That's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. I actually let this warm up a little too before I started to record. I like to drink my beers room temperature. I know it sounds weird too, but if I buy like a 6-pack of something, I'll drink one room temperature and then I'll drink the rest cold. And what I find is that the room temperature beer, especially if it's an IPA or a double IPA, so much more flavorful. Oh, you get so many different characteristics out of it compared to when it's cold. So what I'm doing right now is I'm warming my glass with my residual heat from my hands. Science. Transferring my energy into the beer. You know, you can warm your glass up, get a little bit more aroma or flavor from that. Yeah. I don't know if that did anything, but there's more of a Huma IPA characteristic that just came out. It's very nice. It's interesting. I've had other barrel-aged IPAs and pale ales. I guess the richness in the oak or barrels depends on what company's barrels you use. I would say I don't like this barrel flavor as much as the last reviews I did. This one's a little bit more interesting. I'd like to know what barrels they used. It doesn't say, there's no information. And my cat's trying to break in right now. I'll be there in a minute, hun. I love you. Eat your catnip. So I'm going to have one more sip and give it a review. Or a rating. Alright, so I'm going to give Shorts Brew Bourbon Barrel Aged Huma Lupa Licious. I'm going to give it a 3.5. Give it a 3.5. I know it sounds a little low, but you know, we all have different views and opinions on each beer. And you may know I'm a big Shorts fan from watching the show, if you watch the show. But that doesn't mean I'm going to give them all 4s and 5s. So, the reason I'm giving it a 3.5 is because I don't really like that barrel charred character that the barrel's imparting with this version of an IPA. It is nice, but it's not something that I would prefer. I prefer more of a bourbon and vanilla flavor compared to the charred oak flavor. I think the charred oak flavor is mingling with the IBUs from the hops, so it's a little weird, But I do enjoy Huma all by itself. I do like the citrus hops that are popping out at the end here. It's not all straight bourbon. It works. So 3.5 out of 5. Hopefully you can find it. It was hard to find. I had to do a little begging, but I got it, and I'm thankful. Thank you. You know who you are. It was actually cheap too. So one quick fact: it's only $12.99. $12.99. What a deal. What a deal. Alright, so as I always say, please watch, subscribe, and imbibe responsibly. And until next time, cheers! Huma Bourbon, Huma Bourbon.